partnership and friendship between the Mariinsky and the Metropolitan Opera is a very deep one, and it goes certainly back before my arrival to the Met. I mean, I think it's really a tribute to the great artistic music director of the Mariinsky, Mariinsky Theatre, who has brought the spirit of Russian opera and the international flavor of opera to this city, and has joined with the Metropolitan Opera and so many productions that this is a force of creative power and that is of great importance to the world, and certainly of great importance to the Metropolitan Opera. And certainly since I became the the general manager of the Metropolitan Opera, I have wanted to continue this musical artistic association between the Met and Mariinsky, but really mostly because of Valery and his great creativity and genius in what he does. This company and theater for many years. In the 1980s, I first came to St. Petersburg, which was in Leningrad, and I remember the first performance I was at in this theater was when I was the manager of Vladimir Horowitz, the pianist, and he came to Leningrad to give his historic concert performance here, and we were invited to a performance here to, I think it was Eugene Onegin. And certainly the change between this theater, which has always been one of the great theaters of Russia and the world, but the change in the last decades has been mostly marked by Maestro Gergiev's leadership in really making it into much more of a truly international company. He has opened the door to the West, I think, for the great Russian artists to become great international artists. And I can't give you the exact dates upon which these developments happen, but if you look at the company today and you look at what it was 20 or 30 years ago, it's completely different. Somehow it has managed to retain the essence of the Russian culture and heritage that it represents and that it has stood for. At the same time, has become a modern company. And this is also a lesson for other companies. It's what I'm trying to do with the Metropolitan Opera, since I've taken over, is to try to make the Met a company that is living truly to its historical musical traditions as one of the great opera houses in the world, but at the same time bringing it into the 21st century and using all means, artistic and technological means, to keep it current artistically and connected to the larger society and to mainstream culture. And I think this is what Valery Gergiev is doing with his company, and that's one of the reasons why I think both of our companies need to keep working together to find mutual grounds for cooperation. This past season we had one of the great successes with Valery in New York, conducting the Shostakovich's The Nose, which was a production most people thought in New York would be a box office impediment, that it would be so difficult to sell tickets to this piece so rarely performed with such music that is not so easy to appreciate for a regular opera audience. And yet it became the hit of the season. And that's a tribute to Valery Gergiev's championing of the music of Shostakovich and the Met's new attempts to bring in the most interesting theatrical directors to push the envelope in terms of what opera can be perceived of today, which is necessary to bring new audiences, new contemporary audiences. And it's what Valery is doing in his theater and what we're trying to do in ours. And hopefully in collaborations and new productions that we do together, we will find new ways to keep opera stimulating and interesting for the public, both the old public and the new public.